The latest Pompey news, updates every day from the Pompey Sound news desk.
Here's John Messineo on where Pompey are in their quest for new arrivals, heading towards the January transfer window.
We are at the shortlist stage. We've cut down the long list to 4 or 5 players in every position. We're still looking at players in every position because we don't know how quickly things are going to change from week to week or day to day. We've got an idea of what we want, we just have to be fluid with it. It's difficult for everyone because the players that are going to be available, clubs wait until after the third round of the FA Cup to see what picture changes at their club. Until they've got a couple of incomings, they don't let players go, which is probably sensible. The most important thing is everybody wants signings through the door really early, but we've done a lot of our business late in January over the 3 windows I've been here, so it's about patience.
So we needn't expect any news until after the third round of the FA Cup is done and dusted. Remember, no replays this year, so if it isn't sorted out after extra time, then it's penalties. So it will be done and dusted by around about the 13th of January. We play Arsenal, of course, on the 11th of January, which is the Sunday, and I think that there's a couple of games scheduled for the Monday for television slots, so 13th of January, but that's when real negotiations will begin. It's unlikely that any negotiations will have reached near completion point after the third round of the FA Cup with the big clubs, and presumably we're going to be tapping up the big clubs for players, or at least clubs of Championship standard for transfers, Premier standard if we're going for more loans, and the indication has been that we are going to get at least 1, possibly 2. I remember reading possibly 3 loan players, so it's going to be a busy transfer window, but not until after the 12th, 13th of January, when negotiations will firm up. And then, of course, there is the business of actually making the signing and achieving the last of the details that have to be in these fat contracts that players have now, each of which have standard clauses, no doubt pages of them, but also have plenty of personal and specific clauses and information relating to the loan. Already during the non-transfer window, Sheffield Wednesday have been particularly busy, borrowing Joe Lumley from Bristol City 4 or 5 weeks ago. And on the 27th of November, they brought in Nathan Redmond, who was unattached, so that's just a free. And they also brought in Liam Cooper on the 17th of November. But of course, those are desperate measures at Sheffield Wednesday. They've hemorrhaged players as a result of their financial difficulties and the fact that players are freed of their contractual obligations if they're not being paid, and so there was a mass exodus. So that's the reason for that. They're still not a threat to us, so we are still looking, as far as relegation goes, at beating just 2 teams is all we need to beat in the league in order to stay up and stay safe.
The frustration around Florian Bianchini's tough spell at Fratton Park just keeps growing. The Swansea loanee is yet to score or provide an assist in his 11 appearances this season, and now finds himself completely out of the matchday squad. Manager John Messineo put his recent absence down to tendinitis in the knee, explaining that the club is handling the issue week to week. While he was ineligible to face his parent club Swansea anyway, Bianchini was also left out of the 20-man squad for the abandoned match at Charlton and last weekend's game against Blackburn. His path back into the team looks even tougher, with Harvey Blair returning to fitness, and the Blues actively looking for more attacking options in the January window. Messineo admits Pompey have to find a way to get more out of the attacker, who amazingly still hasn't registered a single assist during his 18 months in English football. Bianchini joined Swansea from French side Bastia back in August 2022, with a reported £2 million price tag, but his first season was a struggle. He scored just 3 times, and failed to set up a single goal in 37 appearances, which prompted the Swans to make him available for loan. In fact, you have to go all the way back to January 21st for his last goal contribution of any kind, when he opened the scoring in a 2-1 defeat to Sheffield United. Here's what John Messineo is saying.
Flo's just got tendinitis at the minute in his knee, so we're week to week as to how he is. He's just out injured at the minute. As far as we are concerned, he is going to be here for the season. Flo has come in and been part of 3 of the 5 wins. He has started them. He's had a big contribution to what we have done this year. He works incredibly hard off the ball, And the big thing for him is just to see if he can produce those numbers at the top end of the pitch in terms of assists and goals. We have seen plenty of that spark in training and sometimes in games. I guess that's maybe the frustration that we don't see a bit more of it consistently. The accurate way to put it is, can we get a bit more out of Flo? We are not precious about potentially going over the number of loans we get in. We did 6 loans last January, so if we need to do more than 5 loans, we'll do more than 5.
There were high hopes when Bianchini arrived. He's a £2 million, or is it €2 million, whatever, rated left winger. He was given the cherished number 11 shirt. That's not particularly significant, but all these clues add up as to what kind of hopes were being nurtured for him. But just as it seems with Swansea, where he didn't quite fulfil his clear ability and promise, it's probably fair to say that John Messino has, he's masked it, but I think there are frustrations with not just so much the injuries, which he picks up. This is tendinitis. Again, it's difficult to know to what extent that is a debilitating condition, but he's not playing. But he has also not produced enough with the ball. He is industrious, yes, and that is important, but he's a left winger, or at least he's a wide forward, and we want to see him doing things with the ball that come off, not just head towards his the defenders who are closing him down, realise he's going to have to beat one and possibly two in order to get a clear cross in or a shot off, and so turn and see who's backing him up and lay it back to them. Not always particularly successfully, I would add. So we still harbour hopes for Flo, as Moose refers to him, but time's running out.
At the football news agency The 72, we've been busy assessing Saturday's clash Derby v Pompey. We say this: Derby County come into this weekend's clash with Portsmouth looking to move back towards the playoff spots after a blip in form. Derby sit 12th, 4 points off the top 6 in a tightly packed championship table. After a run of 1 win in 5 games, the Rams got back to winning ways on Monday night. They cruised to a 3-0 triumph over crisis-hit Sheffield Wednesday, with Patrick Agyemang scoring either side of Liam Thompson's first championship goal. It will be hoped that win at Hillsborough can spark a new run of form for Derby County to lift them back towards the top 6. As for Portsmouth, they head to Pride Park off the back of a crucial win over Blackburn Rovers. Pompey had lost 7 of the last 10 championship games going into that one. John Messino will be hoping that victory can be a turning point for his side. However, there have been growing concerns among fans that they did not receive the investment required to kick on this season. Here, a handful of our writers make their predictions for the game.
James Ray. It might have only been Sheffield Wednesday, but Derby County were back on form on Monday night. If they produce more performances like that over Christmas, it could set up to be a very exciting 2026 for the Rams. Derby have struggled without Carlton Morris, but that display showed how Patrick Agyemang can step up. A shaky Portsmouth defence may well struggle to deal with his physicality and aggression. Portsmouth's best chance will be keeping the Rams at bay and trying to break away and nick a goal. Counter-attacks and set-pieces will be key with Pride Park such a tough place to go. All in all, I do lean towards a home win. Hopefully we'll get a competitive game though. Prediction: Derby County 2, Portsmouth 1.
Luke Phelps. You have to go back a long way to find the last Portsmouth win over Derby County, and going into this one, the odds are once again stacked against the South Coast club. Derby have been increasingly impressive this season, and they have a great chance to move right to within touching distance of the top 6 this weekend. Pompey meanwhile are starting to show real signs of being in danger this season, and a trip to Pride Park doesn't make things any easier. I'm going to back the Rams to get another big win here. Score prediction: Derby County 2, Portsmouth 0.
The predictions that they're making are predictable, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's probably what most people would predict, including quite a lot of Pompey fans, I would imagine. But what's of greater interest is the insight that they betray with some of their comments about the way the game is going to shape up. They seem to be setting a little bit more store on Derby's win over Sheffield Wednesday than Pompey's win over Blackburn. And Blackburn we made them look pretty ordinary. Perhaps they are. But Sheffield Wednesday, I think, it's fair to say, bless them, are extremely ordinary. So if you draw a line through those two results, then it's probably about honours even, but both sides buoyed by additional confidence as a result of a decent result immediately in the immediate past. They're right to point out the dangers that are presented by Derby's number 9, Patrick Agyemang. It's perhaps surprising to some that he is in fact an American. He was born in Connecticut. He played a lot of American football when he was a student. And in fact, he made their sort of all-varsity team, a varsity starter. And he played for the All-American junior side, youth side. So he's a prominent player and he's well known in the United States, and he's going to be looking forward to the World Cup because he's already a full US international. He scores goals. He scored 17 in 59 appearances for Charlotte FC before he came across the pond. He scored 10 in 11 games for Crown Legacy, who had borrowed him, and then he arrived at Derby for an undisclosed fee and in need of a hernia operation, but he started scoring goals. He got 2 on Saturday, and he is a handful. And whoever we've got wearing the number 5 shirts on Saturday are going to have to be on the top of their game. If nothing else, he's nearly 6'5" and a seriously good athlete. So there is one to watch. Patrick Agyemang, the man of the moment at Saturday's opponents, Derby County.